Hey, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I'm Amber. I make videos about kind of crunchy motherhood lifestyle and more recently about trying to conceive. About a month and a half ago, I shared a video opening up about how my husband and I have been trying for baby number 2. At the time of filming that video, we'd been trying for 10 months. It has now unfortunately been 12 months. And if you haven't watched that video, I would pause this, go watch that, and then come back here because everything will just make so much sense since you will have more context. Since it's been 12 months, I had an appointment with my OB 5 days ago, and I thought I would just jump on here and give you a little bit of a cycle update, share what my OB said, what the next steps are, in case you're curious or in case you are on a similar journey and just want to hear from someone who's going through the same thing as you. Like I said, I had my appointment 5 days ago. I was actually on cycle day 5, and I made that appointment a month in advance, which I'm so glad that I did, because even though it felt really defeating to make the appointment while we were technically still trying to not get to that 12-month mark, when I started my period again, it just felt so much less stressful. Like I didn't have to scramble to try to get an appointment really quickly with my OB. The appointment itself was actually very quick, so it technically was for unexplained infertility. As far as we know, everything with me and my husband looks fine. I have very regular periods. My hormones are all pretty normal. The only one that is a little bit out of whack is my AMH. I don't even know if it's considered out of whack. It's just very high. I think what's normal? Let me look up what's normal. Okay, so for my age range, normal is about between like 1 and 3.5 ng per milliliter. I don't know what ng is. Mine is 10 point something, which just means that I have a lot of follicles. And my OB actually did bring that up, and she said that is the only marker I have for PCOS. So there's a possibility that I have PCOS, but she also told me she doesn't want me to walk out of there thinking I have PCOS because everything else looks completely normal. So that was kind of just like a question mark. After we really quickly talked about my AMH levels, she basically right away was like, the only thing I can think to do for you right now is to put you on an ovulation induction medication to just see if that does anything. So it would be either Clomid or letrozole, which I asked her immediately which one, and she said she likes to use letrozole. She told me that we could try that for a little bit. If that doesn't work, the next step would be IUI. She didn't tell me how many rounds of IUI would be normal to do, but she did tell me that even though they are technically not a fertility clinic, they can do IUIs in office. They just can't collect a semen sample there and like wash it and process it. So if it got to that point, we'd have to do that part elsewhere, and then we'd have to like pick up the sample and take it there ourselves, or myself, I guess. And then if that didn't work, it would be IVF. And for that, I would have to be referred out to a fertility clinic, which I'm really glad that they can do IUIs there because the closest fertility clinic to us is an hour away. So I'm gonna be starting 5 milligrams of letrozole per day. I think it's for 5 days. Next cycle. Unfortunately, I can't start it this cycle because I was already on cycle day 5 when I saw her, and I know some people do start at that time, but she really wants me to start it on cycle day 3, so 3 through 7. She then told me that because I have higher than average AMH levels, I have a higher chance for an over response to the medication, which increases your risk of having multiples. And to that, I honestly kind of made a joke, and I was like, oh, twins wouldn't even be so bad at this point. And she got like very, very serious and started going through all the risks that are associated with getting pregnant with twins. So that made me a little bit scared. But I think people with high AMH levels, it's like one or the other. From my understanding, you have a higher chance for an over response or for it to do absolutely nothing. So I'm a little bit scared because like I would really rather not get pregnant with triplets. I mean, twins, I don't know. I also kind of feel silly worrying about that when it's very possible that absolutely nothing could come from this at all. She was like, let's try it between 3 to 6 months. And right there, I was like, 3 months is good. Because similar to how I've been feeling throughout this whole process, if I am tracking and timing sex the way that we are, I don't need 6 months to tell me something else needs to happen. That was actually the other thing. She told me that when we are on the letrozole, we can have sex during my period, then no sex at all until I get that first positive LH test that confirms that I'm about to ovulate, and then the next day, and then that's it. So that really kind of sucks. I also asked her if it was worth it to maybe put me on a progesterone supplement, because I know I'm ovulating already because I track my basal body temperature, but I tried those Prove progesterone metabolite strips just to see how high or low my progesterone is, which it's not as accurate as getting like a progesterone blood draw. And they did confirm, which I already knew, that I was ovulating, but my progesterone didn't go super, super high. So I brought that up to her. She said right now she doesn't think that's necessary because of the fact that I'm not getting pregnant and losing it. I'm just, as far as we know, not getting pregnant at all. But she said that we could try it down the road if we wanted to. So if we do 2 cycles of letrozole with no success, I might want to try that for that 3rd cycle, or I might even be willing to try a 4th cycle just to like really optimize that cycle as much as possible. And then if nothing happened, then it would be IUI, unfortunately. I also asked her if it was worth it to recheck my hormones or to like recheck Alex, and she said at this point, no. She was like, I don't think that that's gonna tell us anything different from the last time you had it done, and you're just gonna have to pay for it. So I do appreciate that she's clearly not just trying to like use up all of our money. I think what she said is true about my hormones, because my cycles are, if nothing, even more regular than they were when I had my hormones checked the first time this year. But with sperm can change a lot from like month to month. So I feel like if it got to the point where we needed to do IUI, I would want to have that check just to make sure that like everything is good before we pay thousands of dollars to have that done, you know? Hold on. June, are you eating her food? Oh, and my doctor told me that when I'm on their letrozole to stop taking evening primrose oil and to stop drinking raspberry and nettle leaf tea. So I went ahead and just stopped this month as well, just to see if it does anything, since at this point I've been using both of those for a long time and it clearly hasn't helped anything happen. And that's pretty much the update. We're still gonna try this month, 100% not assuming or expecting anything to happen. And if that is the case, then we'll be starting the letrozole, or I'll be starting the letrozole at the end of October or beginning of November, just depending on when I ovulate and when I start my period. If anyone else has any experience using letrozole, please let me know in the comments, because I've looked briefly and I haven't really found much, or like some of the videos that I've seen are just really, really old. So I would love to hear from anyone else. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.